In this video, we will cover how to populate the financial statements within the Desk Jockeys web application. In order to proceed, you will need the following information: 2 years of complete historical financial statements, including the income statement, balance sheet, and cash flow statement. We recommend you use the most recent 2 years of complete financial statements. Keep in mind as you move your way through the web application that most organizations' financial statements vary from one another, but we've tried our best to include the most pertinent and common financial statement fields. Once logged into the web application and your scenario has been chosen, make your way to the left-hand side of the application to the navigation menu. Here you will be able to choose the financial statements you'd like to populate. There are a few items to be aware of as you start populating the income statement and other financial statements within the application. The years in gray represent the historical financial data that you'll populate within the application. The years in blue with the E for estimated are the projected financial statement items. These items will automatically be calculated by the application. The Desk Jockeys web application is a full financial model. With this being the case, there are a few items that require manual population, while others will be automatically calculated by the application. As a general rule throughout the application, your mouse cursor will indicate which fields are automatically calculated. The income statement measures the financial performance of an organization over a period of time. It includes the sales and expenses of your organization. We will start populating the financial statements with the income statement. The fields below highlighted in green will be the historical financial statement fields that you will populate. The fields that will automatically populate include gross profit, operating income, pre-tax income, and net income. The operating expenses line item on the income statement will be populated from the expenses section down below. The total from the expenses section will automatically flow into the operating expenses line item. Items such as depreciation will flow to their respective line items as well. To populate the financial data, simply click on each line item you wish to populate and enter the dollar amount for that specific line item. Your completed income statement will have both revenue and expenses projected out for 5 years based on the historical data you populated into the application. The balance sheet is a snapshot in time of the overall financial position of an organization. It summarizes the assets, liabilities, and equity of the organization. The balance sheet equation is assets are equal to liabilities plus equity. Start the balance sheet population by focusing on the assets section. There are 2 types of assets: current assets and long-term assets. Current assets are assets that can be converted to cash within 1 year. An example of this is cash. Long-term assets are those assets that can be used by the organization for more than 1 year. An example of this would be plant, property, or equipment. As with the income statement, there are certain fields that the application will automatically calculate. One example is cash and cash equivalents for year 2 and beyond. In this example, the 2013 cash and cash equivalents will automatically flow in from the cash flow statement. We will now move on to the liabilities section of the balance sheet. Liabilities are items that have a future financial or economic reduction to the organization. The liabilities of a business are further divided into current and long-term liabilities, just as assets were. Current liabilities are liabilities that have a due date within 1 year. An example can be accounts payable. Long-term liabilities are liabilities that have a due date greater than 1 year. An example of this is long-term debt. Long-term debt, as well as the current portion of long-term debt, are 2 of the items that are automatically calculated by the application. The long-term debt amount flows in from the debt schedule, which was populated in the company information section. The final section on the balance sheet is the equity section. Equity is the shareholder's interest or claim of ownership in the organization. The automatically calculated field in this section is retained earnings. It is crucial that the balance sheet balances in order for the web application to calculate correctly. To assist in this process, we've included a check calculation at the bottom of the balance sheet. This check calculation will read yes if your balance sheet is in balance. If not, a dollar amount will display. This dollar amount is the amount that the balance sheet is off by. The final financial statement within the application is the cash flow statement. The cash flow statement summarizes the organization's sources and uses of cash. This financial statement is made up of three main sections. Cash flow from operations, which is the day-to-day cash flows of the business. An example of this is cash from customers in the form of sales. Cash flow from investing, the purchase or sale of assets. An example of this is the purchase of equipment. And cash flow from financing, cash proceeds from financing or debt. An example of this is taking out a small business loan. Together, these sections showcase an organization's cash inflows and outflows. The cash flow statement within the Desk Jockeys web application is different from the other financial statements. The main difference is that the entire cash flow statement is automatically calculated by the application. This being the case, there is nothing to manually populate within the cash flow statement. Note that since the cash flow statement displays the changes in cash from one period to another, the first historical year in the application on the cash flow statement will not contain any value. That concludes the video overview of populating the financial statements. Be sure to review the Populating Financial Statements guide for more information. If you have any issues, please don't hesitate to reach out to us.